Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to do round 2 or row 2 of your Inky, Blinky, Pinky, or Clyde pattern. What you're going to need is a marker yarn that you should have received in class, which is a different color than the yarn that you're using with. Okay, and what I have here is an incomplete magic circle. What I want to do now to complete the circle before we start round 2, if you haven't done so already, is to create a slip stitch. The slip stitch is going to actually close off your circle so that you can move on to your next row. Okay, now before we move on, we want to make sure we have 6 stitches in our magic circle. And what we're going to do now is we're going to count. Okay, so our stitches actually look like this. Like I told you in class, they look kind of like a V shape. Okay, so this right here is one whole stitch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, it's a little fuzzy, 4, 5, and 6 right here. Okay, now depending on how tight you were holding your yarn and how you were working your magic circle, some of them may not look uniform. Some may look looser than others and some may be very tight, but that's okay. Okay, just know that you're gonna have to work your crochet hook accordingly depending on whether it's tighter or looser. Okay, so we make sure the short end of the yarn is at the bottom. So you just kind of pull it towards the bottom so it just kind of falls down. And what we're going to want to do now is, let me zoom out real quick, is wrap the long piece of yarn, let me get this out of the way, around your left hand. We always want to wrap around our fingers before we start, or else our yarn is not nice and tug. Okay, so what we're going to do is insert the pinky, wrap around once, turn our hand, and insert our index finger using your middle finger and your free thumb to hold onto your work right here. Okay, so let me show you that one more time. You want to place the yarn over your pinky, wrap it around, turn your hand, insert index finger, middle finger and pinky, holding your work. Okay, now we're ready to begin. Let me just zoom in. Making sure that the short end, you just leave it alone, let it drop down, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is find our very first stitch, okay, which happens to be right here. Okay, notice our circle is actually still open. Okay, there's still a gap right here. So what we're going to do is insert our hook through the entire stitch. Now there's the front loop and the back loop. You want to insert through both of them. So the first one's always more difficult to work with. You're going to have to wiggle it around to get it through. And again, like I said, depending on how tight you've worked your magic circle, it might be more difficult and you're going to have to wiggle it through. Okay, here I got my hook through my first stitch, and now that you've got it through, you're going to yarn over in the back. You're going to pull this piece of yarn through both of these loops back here. Okay, so you're going to pull it. Okay, my very first stitch is actually a bit tight, so pull through one and the second one. Here we've created a slip stitch, okay? Typically we don't use slip stitches unless we're joining something, joining pieces, and in this case we're joining the circle together. Always double check to make sure you have the right correct number of stitches before you move on to the next row. So let's double check to make sure we still have 6 stitches, okay? We start from here, we start from the end, we have 1, 2, the first one's a little tiny, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right here, okay? So we do have 6 stitches. Now, if we look at our pattern, let me put this down real quick. Our pattern requires us to, in round 2, increase in each stitch. And then at the end of round 2, we'll have a total of 12 stitches. Now what increase means is you work 2 single crochets into same stitch. That means we do 2 of these in each of the 6 stitches we have now. So if we work 2 in each of the 6, we will end with a total of 12. Okay, let me show you how to do a single crochet. So going back to wrapping our yarn, okay, we want to wrap it like so. You insert, wrap around, turn your hand, put your index finger through, and middle finger and thumb to the work. Now before we start proceeding with the second round, we always want to put our marker yarn, okay, in this case I'm using this one, we want to put it just before we start, okay? So we want to put this and just kind of have it hanging there off to the side. You don't need to hold it, you just need to have it dangle there. That way we'll know when we're done with the entire second row. When we've completed a full circle and back around to the pink, we'll know we're done with that row. So with our first stitch, okay, with our very first stitch, let me just wait for the camera to focus, if it's going to work with me. There we go. First stitch is right here. We're going to insert the hook, okay, like so, kind of like the slip stitch, but it's going to be a little bit different. Okay, we're going to yarn over, okay, this is still the same as the slip stitch. We yarned over, but what we're going to do is pull it through the first stitch right here only. Okay, now there's 2 loops. Oops, I don't know why the camera's not following. There you go. Now there's 2 loops. We're going to yarn over again and pull it through both of these loops in the back, trying to ignore the marker yarn. Oops. Okay, let me do that again. That's how you do a single crochet. Now we've done 1 single crochet in that stitch just now, okay? The stitch that we're working on. We're gonna do 1 more in here because we are increasing. And remember, increase, you work 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So I'm gonna go back in, yarn over, pull it through the first one, yarn over again, and now pull it through both loops. Okay, we have completed an increase in our first stitch. We can now move on to the second stitch. Okay, this is what it looks like. And what we're gonna do is doing the same thing. You insert, yarn over, pull it through the first loop. Now we have 2 loops, we're going to yarn over again and pull it through both of those loops. Again, we're increasing, so we need to put another single crochet in the same stitch, which is right in here. In the same stitch or same hole that you can see here. We're going to insert it in, yarn over, pull it through that stitch. It gets a little bit tight because there's 2 stitches in there. Yarn over and pull through. We have done 2 single crochets in that stitch just now, and now we're ready to move on to the next stitch. Okay, insert, yarn over, pull it through. Okay, didn't pull through all the way. Yarn over again and pull through. Okay, we are going to do another one in the same stitch. Okay, insert, oops, insert, yarn over, yarn over, and pull through. We're ready to move on to the next stitch, which is right here. We're going to insert our hook, yarn over, and we're going to yarn over again, pull through, inserting into the same stitch. We're going to insert, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, and pull through. Now, don't get confused with the short end of the yarn and pull that through. You want to make sure that's nice and low, okay, at all times. Okay, we're moving on to the next stitch, which is right here. Okay, we're going to insert just below it, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through both loops. You're going to do it again, insert, oops, insert, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull through both loops. And now we're almost back at the beginning. See how my marker yarn's right here? There's actually one more crochet, one more stitch right here that's really tiny, okay? This is the last one I need to increase, okay? So I'm gonna try to put my crochet hook through. It will fit, you just have to kind of wiggle and work it through. Okay, so I've inserted. I'm going to yarn over, pull it through the stitch. Oops. Well, pull it through the stitch completely. Oh, sorry for that. You kind of seem to move off screen a little bit. Okay, here's where I'm at. We yarn over again and pull through. We're going to go in the same stitch again. Okay, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through both loops. Okay, now we're going to double check to make sure we have 12 stitches all around. Okay, if we have too many, we need to undo one, and if we don't have enough, we must have forgotten to do an increase in a stitch somewhere along the way. So we're going to count now. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me see if I can help you. Okay, 5. It's a little bit fuzzy. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, which is right where we started with the marker yarn. Okay, this is how you do round 2. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video, and do feel free to rewind as much as necessary, but just remember to always use your marker yarn before you start a new row. Thanks for watching.